Good day, everyone, and welcome to Oklahoma Voice. I am Jonathan Clour. Today we have back in the studios Representative Joe Dorman. He is the former Democratic nominee for Oklahoma governor, and also sitting with us in KTLV studios is Russell Dykes. He is the VP of Sales for True Wireless, and Representative Joe Dorman is also the Community Outreach Director for True Wireless. They have come to KTLV studios to discuss who True Wireless is and the outreach that they have to the community. And guys, welcome to Oklahoma Voice.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Hey, and Russell, I know that you are from Memphis, I believe.
Yes.
And there is an office in Memphis for True Wireless. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's where we have had our headquarters for prior to 2012, and then we've become Oklahoma-based.
Okay. Joe, tell us a little bit about True Wireless.
True Wireless is a Lifeline company, and if you're unfamiliar with Lifeline, that was a program that was established in the 1980s to allow for affordable phone service to Americans. And in the original format, it was based on landlines, the standard phones you'd find in your home, and it's grown through the years to provide that service to individuals who truly need that help. True Wireless is one of the premier companies in the Lifeline industry, and we're located in several states. And as Russell said, the main office, the corporate office, is located here in Oklahoma, so proud to be working with an Oklahoma-based company.
Wow. Russell, tell us how you got involved with True Wireless.
It came down to I had a good relationship with an old high school buddy, and he had gotten into the phone business. His company was doing really well. It continued to expand. I had taught school and coached basketball for 15 years. He, through talking to me, knew that I was looking for an opportunity to grow even more. So they had a chance in their company as he was expanding and offered me a chance to come over and help him grow.
Very good. Joe, you were saying that this program was started in the 80s, and I believe that was under the Reagan administration. How has this evolved throughout the recent history?
That's correct. You've done your research on this. It was a program that was created in the Reagan administration, and it was established to help individuals who were under a classification of low income, 135% or less of the poverty level, or if you qualify for one of the federal assistance programs like Medicare, Medicaid, LIHEAP, Indian tribal benefits, any of those, you fit into the qualification to receive Lifeline assistance. The fees that we pay in for our cell phone use for individuals all go into an account with the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, and then they take those fees and distribute out a subsidy to individuals who qualify for the program. The thought behind this from day one is that individuals have to have access to the world to be able to get a job or to maintain any type of a normal life. So we want to try and find those individuals out there who need that assistance, and they get a basic service. It's certainly not the top line unlimited data, unlimited phones. It's a reasonable amount of service through minutes and text messages to allow people to have that opportunity to better themselves and go out and find a job and become productive citizens and pay taxes and do all of the things that we want to see the individuals grow as they have opportunities.
And we were talking before the program that the Obama phone has somewhat, it has been, these programs have somewhat been labeled as Obama phone programs, and that can be a misconception. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's some of the politics, and it's unfortunate there are the politics in that. The program was expanded to cell phone use under George W. Bush, and it developed more as he left office and President Obama entered into office, and you saw a lot of bad faith actors as that changed over. The FCC truly didn't put the standards and regulations that were needed in place, and you had a lot of people enter the industry in a get-rich-quick scheme. These individuals were setting up on corners and having people come up and signing them up, and they weren't doing the background check to make sure they did qualify or that they only had one phone per household. And fortunately, the FCC has put more and more regulation and tighter regulation and worked with the local regulatory entity, the Oklahoma Corporation Commission, to make sure that we're getting rid of the bad faith actors and seeing it become the respectable and reputable business that people want to see.
And so I see that it is very important that we improve the integrity of these businesses. How does True Wireless separate itself from the others?
We were one of the first ones that came in and started to do the third-party verifications. So now we had real-time verification checks, whereas before some people would you'd place an order and then they'd go back and check later on. And once you've done that, you've already given away, service and phone to customers, whereas we brought it real time. We were one of the first companies to do that. And so just right here at the point of, sign up, then we had a third party company that was also starting to check and validate, which that helped to, reinsure that this third party company didn't have an interest in whether this person qualified or not. For every person that was coming through, they were going to, they were providing their service. So whether they said yes or no, to the person being, serviced, they were going to get paid. So then that helped ensure from a quality, control standpoint that each person that is coming through our company, they actually qualified. They were who they said they were. They were on the benefits. And so as Joe was saying, there was just rampant the terms of fraud and abuse that was taking place, and we were one of the first companies to come in and really start to crack down on that. And in Oklahoma today, we have one of the best reputations, and working closely with OCC, they've helped to pattern the quality checks in place based off what we had done.
That's right. There's a system called the NLAD system where we do the checks on individuals, and it's done instantly. Many of the vendors that we have, whether it's in a store or wherever the location might be, they have an iPad with them, and they can do an instant check with the individual to see if they're within the system and they qualify. They must show proof of identity and proof of benefit to qualify for this. And so the regulations have been put in place both at the federal and the state level, have tightened the ship, and we're seeing a lot of these bad faith actors, the ones that are the crooks in the industry, they're getting run out quickly.
Well, what are the qualifications to be accepted into this phone program? Do you have to make a certain amount a year, or perhaps I should say less than a certain amount a year? How can someone know if they might be qualified to receive this program?
There are several different benefits individuals can qualify for through the federal government that would also qualify them for Lifeline. The base is 135% of the household poverty rate. So if you're 135% or worse situation, and it's based on the household numbers, then you will qualify. You just have to show that proof of income. You also have dual qualification through programs, like I said, LIHEAP, the Low-Income Low-Income Heating Assistance Program, Medicare, School Lunch Program, tribal benefits that are recognized through each of the tribal nations. So there are multiple ways an individual can qualify, and it is geared to make sure that the fraud is out. These other programs do have that qualification and that background check. And so if an individual qualifies through that, then they will qualify for this. They've tried to make it a reliable system to make sure that there's as much safeguard in place to cut out the fraud.
Folks, you're listening to Oklahoma Voice. I am Jonathan Clour. Today we have Representative Joe Dorman with us. He is the Community Outreach Director for True Wireless and Russell Dykes. He is the Vice President of Sales for True Wireless, and they are here discussing what their program, what the True Wireless company offers our communities, and whether you can qualify to be a part of this program. True Wireless, where do folks go to find out more about True Wireless? Are there stores? Are there places of a business where people can walk in?
You can go to the website. That would be the easiest access point. It's gotruewireless.com. You can also call. We have a toll-free number. It's 877-412-1919. We have several locations in Oklahoma, and they're all listed on our website. Oklahoma City especially, we have some great locations in the metro area. We have one store in Tulsa, we have one in Shawnee, and we're trying to set up more and more locations working with partnerships with businesses to have a vendor, a salesperson set up in that store. So trying to combine and help current small businesses offer one more additional opportunity to come in. It brings in the additional traffic to an existing business and certainly helps us by partnering with an entity.
Joe, I know you've seen folks setting up tents, and it'll say free phone on it, and you'll be on a local corner and or perhaps in a busy part of the city. Are these folks trustworthy?
It just depends on each of the individual companies. We have locations like that. We call them the mobile points. They all have to register with the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. You have to let the Corporation Commission know when you're setting up something, and you have to have a posting of the regulations, and the individual must wear an item of clothing identifying them as a salesperson with the company logo. So if you don't see one of those things, then I would certainly say that tent is breaking the law, and they should be reported to the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. We take that very serious. With our employees, we demand that they have everything in place, and if they don't, they go through a probation period within the company, because that does reflect poorly back on us. And we're trying to set the standard for that industry and be the model of what the regulatory entities want to see.
So there is a checklist that a prospective customer can go through to make sure that they are working with a safe, reliable company.
That is correct. You can look up and see the different companies, especially here in Oklahoma, who are authorized through the Corporation Commission. You can do the check through the Lifeline program to see if an individual does have their licensing in the appropriate manner. And I certainly encourage people to do that background check to make sure it is a legitimate company, and ask the right questions. See what type of service is offered. Be wary about individuals just simply accepting a cash payment without going through the proper processing on their device to make sure a person's registered. We want to try and get the scammers out of this business.
Mm-hmm. Joe, we know that you are the Community Outreach Director. What does that job entail?
I get to be the guy that gets around and set up meetings with individuals, usually the organizations. I've sat down with community health clinics, places that individuals will go where they receive some type of government assistance, and see if we can offer that additional bit of help to their clientele. I've worked with some of the tribal nations to see if we can offer assistance through their programs. With this being a program that can also be identified with school lunch program, we're trying to work with some schools, K through 12 and the university level, based on the income levels, and see if there's a way to reach out and help organizations. And oftentimes we will partner with these organizations and offer a donation back or some type of residual to help that organization with their membership fulfill their mission. So it's been wonderful to partner even with churches and reach out to the people associated with that group, and then also give back to the community. So I've got a fantastic job. Through those 12 years, I always viewed the public service aspect as the most important part. If you can help individuals have a better life, that should be the goal. And I've been able to continue this with True Wireless and work to improve the lives of many Oklahomans.
Very interesting. So your history of public service, of the political field, is really coming into play with your new job here with True Wireless.
It absolutely is. It's helped me get in the door with many individuals and sit down and visit. They recognize my name. They know they can trust me through my track record in public service. And it's been wonderful to develop those connections and continue the work with many of these groups, and in this way work more closely with them on more of the business side rather than the problem solver side, is what I did as a legislator.
Right. So how did you get involved with True Wireless? How did you apply for this job and be accepted?
Well, the president of the company is the former chief of staff for Lieutenant Governor Jerry Askins. Mike Fina is his name, and he and I were staff members together at the House of Representatives, and then he continued on staff after I was elected, and was a good friend, and we worked closely together on many of the areas where he was a staffer. And after the gubernatorial race, he approached me and asked me if I would be interested in this, and he gave me the pitch about the wonderful opportunities there to help people out, and it sounded like it was a fantastic job. And I will say I celebrated my 1-year anniversary on March 1st, and he did not sell me a line of goods. It's been wonderful to work with the company, and it has truly been rewarding.
Congratulations on that 1-year anniversary, Joe. Is there any kind of legislation or perhaps government influence that this line of business needs? We know that there's an evolution of this program, and we can see that perhaps there are some areas that need to be critiqued, that need to be improved. Is there anything that our local government or perhaps national government needs to do to help improve this business?
Again, I can see you been doing your homework, because yes, we do have one local official who has been tremendously involved at the federal level with trying to bring in some standards that he feels are important. Senator James Lankford has been working with the FCC to try and improve regulation and limit some of the opportunities for fraud. I've sat down with some of his staff, and Senator Lankford is on target with a lot of this. Oklahoma has a larger than average customer base because of many of the tribal benefits that are here. If a person lives within tribal lands, they receive an additional subsidy, and that's been in the program since day one. And he's been working with them to try and verify many of the points to make sure that Oklahoma is certainly receiving their fair share, but not receiving above and beyond. So it's been a pleasure to work with him on some of those aspects and make sure that they are going down the right path on a way that will truly benefit the state, but still be fair. We have the Oklahoma Corporation Commission oversees this program, and they did run legislation a few years ago to limit the reimbursement rate that Lifeline companies receive. One of the problems we saw with them is I feel that they probably went a little too far, because companies can opt out and not receive the subsidy, and that removes some of the restrictions. I certainly hope the legislature will go back and review that and come up with a system that's a better way for the companies to interact with the Corporation Commission and receive that subsidy and agree to that oversight. There are some things that need to be tinkered with, but I would say both sides, the state and the federal, are going down the right path. They just need to make sure that they're aware of the outcomes and look at each issue individually and make sure that it will do what they want.
Well, the next evolution of this is taking place. It's gone from home phone to wireless. Is broadband is next. So we'll start to see they're going through their phase right now of testing it out, seeing what it'll look like. But just as Joe was commenting on people needing wireless service, this is going to be a huge one on broadband, because there's no question that in today's age we have to have kids that are growing up, they can't be left with no access to the internet. That is such a critical part in today's world. So broadband's becoming the next piece that will be launching in the next year or two. That'll be changing the way Lifeline works. So moving it, I shouldn't say changing the way it works, but just expanding it beyond just wireless phones. But broadband will be a really important piece.
And that's one of the things that people often forget about this. The technology that you need to survive in society today, it's often not cheap, and many families with kids in school can't afford home internet service. The FCC brought up an issue, it was about 2 meetings ago, where there are some school districts that are actually equipping their school buses with hubs, and they will park the buses throughout the different areas of the community where individuals, if they have kids in school, will have the password and can do their homework from home. And we're seeing more and more of a need for that, because oftentimes homework assignments require internet access, either to complete the assignment or do the research. With our school situation in Oklahoma, now we're starting to talk a little bit more about politics, so many of our schools in the state, there are not enough textbooks for the kids to be able to take their textbooks home. The books are held together by duct tape, and they only have one book for all of the classes. So it's impossible for the kids to do their homework from a textbook. So access to the internet is critical for people at home. And they have to have that ability to look things up. They have to have the mobile device, even if it's just a phone, to be able to search the internet. So if you're going to succeed in society, you have to have that technology and the ability to use it.
And if you've gone to school in the 21st century, you know that you have to have the internet. I couldn't imagine, going through whether it be high school or middle school or even college without having the internet. It's crucial to do your research, and so this is an issue that you guys are tackling, and I think we can salute that.
Well, it's definitely going to be a big deal. We talk about, improving the workforce, and you talk to companies and what are their biggest needs, and having educated workers, that can come in and be responsible. But when you look at the homes that maybe have been standing for 50, 60 years, you get into wiring issues. I mean, there's so many different things that you look at, and what can we do to help. We can always have so many different debates about whether maybe the government should pay for what they shouldn't pay for, but looking at it from a much bigger, aspect of what's our country going to look like if we have people who are growing up in the 21st century, but they're living in the 20th century, and they honestly have been left behind, then that doesn't bode well for the future. And what kind of productivity can they have as citizens when technology just changed the way of the world? And they didn't have the funds, they didn't have the means to access. Joe just pointed out a huge thing. For me teaching, the schools, they're able to save money. Everything's online now. You don't have to order all the textbooks. I've got two daughters that are in school. There's a classroom set of books. They tell everyone, when you go home, if you need to access the book, you jump online. You do these things now, and there's a ton more resources out there. Also. And so that sounds great to the kids that have access to the internet, but it's so easy to forget the people that don't, and this hasn't received near the attention that it needs.
And it's funny, I remember when I was going around on the campaign trail, I would have the opportunity when I was out on weekends to visit different churches. And as the pastor would say, pull out your Bibles, it was amazing how many people would just pull out their cell phone and look up the scripture on their cell phone. Phones have become such an important part of our life, no matter what aspect. And this opportunity to provide that assistance to individuals so they can have that aspect of a normal life and help better themselves, it's truly been rewarding. And I appreciated the opportunity to go to work for this company, and certainly have loved being able to help build the company over the last year.
You're listening to Oklahoma Voice. I am Jonathan Clour, and in the KTLV studios, we have Representative Joe Dorman and Russell Dykes from True Wireless. So, guys, it sounds to me like True Wireless is providing a crucial necessity to folks that can't afford a cell phone or that cannot afford the internet, and allowing folks an opportunity to live in the 21st century. And we've seen that through the examples that we've given. It is crucial that folks are connected. And I was even looking at a commercial being aired from one of our local hospitals, and they have a program to where you can pull out your cell phone or your laptop and you can talk to a physician over the internet. We're seeing that this is so crucial for the livelihood of our people. Do you guys have any success stories from folks that have utilized this program?
Absolutely. We are seeing the advent of telemedicine grow in the state. Back when I first ran in 2002, that was one of the campaign issues I looked at, and we helped build a clinic in my hometown. And the ability to have those cell phones, and with the technology growing each and every day, you can actually do some of the basic scans through your cell phone now. You can check your heart rate if you have the right devices and apps to plug into the phone. And we offer that wide array of those applications. We're working on a program to partner with some healthy living organizations in Oklahoma to offer healthy living tips to our customers. We do quite a bit with our community service, reaching out to different programs and partnering with them to improve the lives of individuals. Whatever app you can download on any phone, you can certainly apply it with one of the phones we use. That ability is going to be there for the individual to have that.
And when you're receiving this program, are these phones or this broadband, is it free for some people, or is there like a minimal monthly fee that you have to pay?
It's a dollar fee that is required that we charge for the program. Of course, we partner with the major companies, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon. We get a subsidized program from them that's offered through the Lifeline program. And then the fees are collected by the FCC, are distributed to the companies based on the customer, and they check that each month to make sure that that customer is a legitimate customer. And if people didn't tune in at the beginning, the Lifeline program was a program that was created under President Ronald Reagan's administration and then was expanded to cell phones under President George W. Bush. And it was recognized as a need for individuals to maintain that ability to communicate with the rest of the world, to not only have a normal life, but be able to better themselves.
And one of the misconceptions we didn't talk about when we help to provide the service. The phones are not part of the government program. That is done. We provide the phones as a gift or a service from us to the customer, but that is not part of the subsidy. The subsidy that the government is paying for, that each one of us on our cell phones, bills that we have, the USF fund, that coming from there just goes to pay for their service. But that is one thing a lot of people, when we mentioned the Obama phone, well, there's really no phone is subsidized. That is being provided by the company out of their own pocket. It's just the service that's been subsidized.
And we work to find quality phones that are refurbished. We also have a line that is specifically made for True Wireless with phones. So we'll offer iPhones, Android phones. You're going to get good equipment, and there's a guarantee that comes with it. If something happens with it, we work to try and get you a new phone because we want you to have the best equipment available.
It looks like both sides of the aisle has rallied around this program.
You don't see any of the individuals really scrutinizing it and condemning it the way it's seen in the past, because they do realize the benefit from this. Both sides want to find a way to provide a service that is free from fraud and abuse, and both are going down that path. And it's been, from my side, fun to watch the commissioners with the FCC debate some of the points. No one appears to want to get rid of the program. They just want to make sure it's free from abuse.
Joe, would you like to give us the information one more time on how to contact True Wireless, and perhaps a phone number or a website?
Certainly. The toll-free number is 877-412-1919, and our website is gotruewireless.com.
Very good. Guys, where do you see True Wireless in the future? Russell?
True Wireless in the future we will be offering broadband. People like Joe coming on board has helped to expand us through the community to have a much deeper impact than just running commercials. It's really setting up relationships with organizations. So I think we're going to be much tighter in the community.
Okay. And also, I will tell you that we just signed an agreement with DirecTV. So we're going to be offering DirecTV service to our customers as well. So we're seeing more and more of those partnerships grow. And I see this as being a great corporate citizen in Oklahoma, and certainly helping provide a wonderful service to individuals and help better the lives of many Oklahomans.
Very good. Folks, this has been Russell Dykes, Vice President of Sales at True Wireless, and former Representative Joe Dorman, also former Democratic nominee for governor. He is the Community Outreach Director for True Wireless. Guys, it has really been a pleasure, and I want to thank you all for joining us here on Oklahoma Voice.
Well, thank you, Jonathan.
We enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Folks, you've been listening to Oklahoma Voice. I am Jonathan Clour. Good night.